Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for coming out. I bet it's a long, exhausting day for a lot of you. So thanks for coming out to this talk. Really quick bit of background on who I am. I've been involved with computer graphics, CG creation since I was 12 years old. So to give some context of age, that's like over 20 years ago. So I've been involved with a bunch of things in Vancouver. One of them is I run a lot of the Van VR events, a lot of collaboration with Emily Carr University, and also my other company, Conquer Mobile. We've been doing a lot of medical simulation and training type of technology called periopsim, and I've been getting involved with see a little bunny there. I've been getting involved with a company called Occipital with building mixed reality technology on mobile. So lots of hats. So mixed reality technology today is pretty limited because we're solving some pretty hard problems. The HoloLens is so far the most representative example of a technology that's really advanced the state of the art. So that costs $3,000. And then this bridge engine, or this bridge headset, it costs $400. So almost a 1/10 the cost, 1/9, I guess. And you just pop an iPhone into it and you're good to go. There are lots of mixed reality technologies that are coming out on the horizon. I think that there are some wonderful examples of VR and like Project Tango being this kind of new thing from Google. But if you look at the technology on the, as it stands today, the tracking and quality isn't quite there yet. Doesn't mean that you couldn't do it, though. So here is recorded live with the bridge engine. There's Bridget. There's a little interaction UI you can look at. You can pop open a portal. Doing portal rendering on a phone is pretty tricky. And there's some live tracking. You're seeing collision avoidance, so it's actually rendering the world mesh that it's seeing over top of a virtual world. So it's doing double duty in order to render VR. And then you can render portals into other spaces, and it's all seamlessly being integrated on the fly at 60 frames a second. So mixed reality is coming out in force very, very soon. And I think that the capabilities of mixed reality are going to get amplified by a coming of various important milestones. One is wireless video transmission, good ergonomics, in this case, supporting a headset where the person still can wear their glasses and it all just works. And be able to track reliably indoors. So right now, a lot of the the mixed reality headset makers out there are saying, oh, we can totally solve positional tracking, inside-out tracking, totally on board. That's kind of a lie. Because really, there are lots of cases where you have ambiguity about where your actual position is, and if you get it wrong, then the projected CG that you're seeing in front of you will slip and slide and not do the right things, but your inner ear will say, whoa, something's wrong. And so there's a lot of reasons why to do inside-out tracking well, it's going to take something that fits an anchor. So lighthouses everywhere is actually a really brilliant solution to anchoring your indoor spaces. And I think that that is a critical piece to making mixed reality, at least indoors, work reliably. So you have a stable anchor and you free up the processing time on board a mobile device to do more interesting things. The other thing is interaction. You really need a good interaction media device. So far, the Leap Motion device over, where it just sees your hands and it infers a skeleton, that's not good enough because there's lots of cases where occlusion, again, a blindness of the device, can't really know for certain that the hand has closed that there's contact made. And so if you don't know this concretely, you're not going to know for sure that you are intending to pick up that piece, or you're just meaning to touch it. And so you also need haptics. When you're dealing with virtual objects, you really need a sense of you made it. You've reached that surface concretely. And the way we interact with the real thing is that we have, sense of contact. And that's really important. So devices that have on board haptic response mechanisms, little motors, weighted motors that can give you that little buzz, or ticks or clicks, they're very important for making that real sense of depth of interaction, and making those user interfaces work. So, and so finally, we need to partition the workload. We have to split it up. When you have a device, I mean, the eventual convergence is going to be probably a mobile device of some kind, something that you're going to be packing with you that has enough battery life to last throughout the day, that can do some of the fancier things of 3D scanning, doing the onboard 3D scanning at a fidelity that makes sense. It makes sense to put it into this form factor. It's pretty good at it. Taking that and relaying that through the cloud to other devices can then pull down that data. Doing all of those tricks is really hard. To relay that data, to manage the power consumption when you're dealing with lots of data going over the air, you have to, there's a bit of a juggling act there. But it's very doable. So these devices, where you have a lot of compute capacity on board, but they don't have all the interactions and all the other mechanisms in play, you're probably going to have an interplay of all of these things combined. It's a great time to get a call. So finally, what is it about the far future of mixed reality? So I just talked about some of the components of near future and what are the things that will enable mixed reality engagement work. The far future is more about the picture of how you will live. Hopefully, the dystopian future is not it, because it actually exists already. I mean, couch potatoes are a thing that, it exists with TV. But the fundamental difference is that mixed reality forces engagement. So it's more like the video games, they awaken the brain. So you consider in the real world where it forces the brain to be aware of the virtual versus actual, so you don't lean on the virtual world and fall through. You have a part of your brain that is acting to mediate your physical self with the virtual world versus the actual world. And that fundamental mechanic encourages the brain to produce gamma wave activity. So those are the signs of higher level cognition and activity. And so you're not going to get this because you can't, or you will fall down and you'll wake up. So that's where, okay, we're going to be having a technology base that you can operate, that will encourage people to operate at a higher capacity or a higher level. So now it's a matter of efficiency. What's going to motivate people to really jump into this mixed reality train? And that's going to be where oil supplies are getting increasingly depleted, so cost of travel is going to go up. Sustainable energies for wind, solar, nuclear are going to become more of a regular thing to facilitate a lot of transportation and a lot of production and interaction. So a lot of things are going to go electric. Reliance on technology instead of physical travel is a thing where you could have a Skype call, but it's much better having presence in with somebody's space. The other thing that we're seeing a convergence of is robotics and artificial intelligence. So machine awareness of the space is exponentially improving as machine recognition and the neural network kind of capacities of online learning is kind of catching up with all this mixed reality technology. Those are supporting things to make it possible for you to be present at a remote location more efficiently. So people will become, and fundamentally, people will become more deeply specialized down different niches at a younger age, and there will be a broader acceptance of ad hoc education mechanisms, like, you learn new skills on YouTube every day, because, oh, how did that work? How do I bake this cake? How do I do this other thing? You just learn on demand. And if you don't know, the neat thing about remote presencing with, a mixed reality technology is you can now, I just don't know how to do this thing. Well, you could get an expert to help you out, and you could pay them some money for helping you out. And that's new currency. That's a new kind of sense of collective supporting each other. And those things are all going to be very, very possible in the near future. So what is your work environment going to be like? Well, I would argue it's more like a Zen office environment, where you don't really have much of the physical things there. Instead, it exists in your virtual environment. But instead of working on a mouse and keyboard and computer display where you constrain to 2 dimensions of interaction inside your little virtual box, it's so confined, you're able to spread out. You're able to stand up and walk around and observe and engage. And those kinds of full 6 degrees of freedom, interaction, and fidelity is a powerful thing for improving our overall health and well-being inside of our working minds. And so if we can get away from the confines of a fixed display that's stuck in front of you, and this is why these things are so enabling and so powerful, if we can move towards this world, we are freeing ourselves to be more collaborative and to be healthier. Oh yeah, and one last thing. So the reason why you would still have desks, probably drafting style desks, is because you still need to be able to relax. You can't have gorilla arm syndrome. So you really do need to have sit down workspaces, but they'll basically be empty to facilitate the ergonomics of what you need to just function and articulate and do fine detail work. And finally, artificial intelligence. Technologies, it's scary for a lot of people that AI is going to learn to do things better. It's going to be better than you. And I don't know if you've seen this video, but it's pretty funny. I hope you're not offended if I hit play. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, this is different. Hello? Do you know how to get out of here? I need to find my ship to get off this planet.
Fuck you, shithead, fuckface, fuckhead.
Okay, but do you know how to get out of here?
Fuck you, shithead, fuckface. Get the fuck out of my face.
I think it's a test.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Well, fuck you, little shit.
Follow me, fuckhead.
Hey, you just got an email from Mark Lumen.
What are you talking about?
Read email.
Okay, I will read email for Theodore Twombly. She went to Harvard, she graduated magna cum laude in computer science, and she was on the Lampoon. So that means she's funny and she's brainy.
So why did I pick this clip? It's pretty offensive on some levels, but at the same time, there's a lot of really interesting things going on at this moment. There are 2 artificial intelligence entities that are emotionally engaging the participant. They are talking to each other. They actually have this mutual awareness, and there's also see the little guy, he's looking up at the projection. You could think about it. What do convolutional neural networks do? They look at visual input. So this is a very possible shared medium. Is whatever you see, they're seeing, and the AIs are actually working and processing at that level. So this is actually going to be a real thing. So this little guy, this is built to be pretty annoying, but he's doing natural language engagement. There is an emotional subtext in the communications, and that emotional awareness and emotional communication is an important part of establishing the human-machine interaction model that provides balance, that provides grounding. So, he was talking like a robot to say, read out my email. And then it was like responding in a kind of sarcastic way. Okay, I'll read out your email. And it's kind of this playful, like, pull you out of this, like, robotic mode and into more being more human. And I think that empathy processing is a very important element of human-machine engagement and modeled learning. So, and at a very high level, you'd have this mingling of application resources being shared at an operating system level. And then there's the assorted huge privacy issues that go with like having AI agents being able to observe all of your world. But at a very important level, we're going to enter an age where we can do so much more creatively engaging with not just each other, but also through our digital mediators with the computers and machine learning to enable us to do more and to have a better life, or worse life, let's hope not. So finally, there's a really interesting use case presented by Microsoft with the HoloLens. This is a lot of just marketing nonsense. Like they say it can do all these things wonderfully, but actually the little tiny field of view really does not help. But a lot of that's going to go away in the next couple of years. And I think that as a vision, this is really great. This is where it's at.
OnSite is a tool that we're building in collaboration with Microsoft to connect scientists and engineers with the environment of the Curiosity Mars rover. Since we can't put our scientists yet physically on Mars, a technology like this allows us to investigate, well, what's possible if we can make them virtually present?
This was the first time where I could basically do a 360 and see Mars all around me.
I love the fact that people, when they first encounter this project, have a feeling of, wow, I've lived to see this.
Instead of looking at 2D images, they can now walk around and explore Mars in their office.
It was part inspiring and part just like, wow, I can finally do this thing that I really want to do. I could see using this every single day.
And that's probably what's going to happen. So it was funny, when I was about to start Steampunk Digital, I talked to a bunch of advisors, people I knew that were really good in business, and I asked them, am I crazy? I'm going to be stepping away from a successful business to create something totally new in a totally uncharted territory of building virtual reality, mixed reality, full time. Good luck. It's an unscripted business plan. And one of them said, aliens will probably first send their robot AI to discover Earth. And then they'll remotely teach us how to communicate. Because we're already doing that. So with that, thanks for listening. I don't bite.
Yeah? It means you're going to get mobbed when you go out through that door. If someone's break the ice and take away my so, thank you. Do you think the growth of AI, along with MR, that, so obviously you spoke about experts helping someone fix something, and Microsoft was showing a lot of that, someone fixing a pipe, something like this and that. Do you think that AI will take over that and there will be less skilled jobs in certain areas going forward?
So really, this question is brought up every time there's a revolutionary technology that's brought in to change a large quantity of today's everyday jobs. So the printed book created quite a revolt because guess who had the power? The churches. And the monks that were writing out the books, the scribes, were being displaced by a printing press that could do volumes that were unthinkable. And it has a similar question of like, well, are we displacing jobs? And what are we going to replace those jobs with for those people? And there's always churn, there's always turmoil, but at the end of it, there's a significant increase in the quality of life. And that's what really matters, is that we have an increase in our quality of life, and our opportunities will keep on expanding exponentially. So in my line of work, I'm constantly inventing new things. I'm finding that every time that I create a new technology, I create 5 to 10 new branches that are possibilities I could go and explore. Now I have, behind my career, thousands of new branches that I could have explored. Those are new job opportunities for people to engage in. So are we going to work ourselves out of work? I think we're just going to discover new opportunities to use our time.
So, maybe I should have said, but from a psychological perspective, do you think people want to do that? So socially, we'll always adapt. Things will always change. Certain types of jobs will become, others will,
yeah, right, like the truck driving industry.
Will want to do that.
Yeah.
Rather than, so I can help you fix your pipe, do you think people who want to actually go and fix their pipe? So, or do you think they'll still call people to come around or get an expert?
I think people want to self-serve, yeah, absolutely. And if they can ask an AI to like teach me how to fix this pipe, I mean, we YouTube how to fix this pipe anyways, right, like today. I think that people are much more empowered to do it yourself now more than ever. And I think the biggest disruptor is like the trucking industry, where a huge quantity of jobs is just spent hauling stuff from point A to point B, and when you have an automation take care of that transport at all the way, then what do those people do? You've got like 30% of your economy built around that. So those people are, if they just lose their jobs in the next 10 years, that's big turmoil. What's going to be replaced there? And I think that we'll definitely have some issues around poverty and around people that don't know what to do with their lives, and that's really sad. But to be totally honest, the human condition is if we're freed up to do something more, and we can solve this, we can engineer our future to do more interesting things with our available time. And if you have all these resources now available to you for less cost, now let's think about our economic model. I think that very soon we're going to have artificial intelligence completely replace all of the main menial jobs that make everything work. And now what do you do? And we will probably have to look to, in North America and Canada, our First Nations model of economies to answer that, because they didn't have money, they didn't have currency, and it worked. In fact, their quality of life was much better and less stressful because the natural balances of social engagement amongst the community members just made more sense than money. So I think that we need to fall over to those models and research that way of engaging in economic structure to progress forward.